Basics to Breakthroughs, AI Strategies for Library Leaders with our presenter, Arnessa Dowell. If you do have questions throughout the webinar, please use the Q&A panel on the bottom of your screen, and Jean and I will be watching those questions. We will have time to share those with Arnessa at the end of her stellar presentation. If you have any questions for Jean and I or technical issues, you can send those through to us on the chat and we'll resolve them throughout the session. So with that, I am so excited to introduce you to Arnessa Dowell. She is going to go ahead and share her screen and share with us some really great ways that we can bring AI into our library leadership and our library space. So Arnessa, take it away.
Thank you, Miss Angela. I appreciate you guys so much. Welcome everyone in the room. I'm so glad 98 of you are in here. Woo woo. Happy morning, happy evening for me. I'm located in Guam right now. It's 1 a.m., but I'm up here ready to do the things. So what we're talking about today is from basics to breakthroughs, AI strategies for library leaders. Like Angela said, my name is Arnessa Dowell, and ooh, that worded a lot. Okay, so just a couple of things about me. I'm 20 years in librarianship. I started out as a page. I worked in 10 years in executive leadership positions. I have an MLS from North Carolina Central University, go Eagles, and I have an MBA from the University of North Alabama, go Lions. And I am truly an AI enthusiast, and I am so glad to be here. So we are going to be together around 75 minutes this morning. What we're going to go through in the first part of the session is overall intro into AI. We're going to talk about organizational benefits of AI in libraries. We're going to talk about examples of AI integrations for library workers. We're talking about ways to use AI in libraries as library leaders. We're going to talk principles for AI policy writing from the Association of Research Libraries. We're going to talk about tips for writing effective prompts, frameworks for effective prompts, prompt templates, and going even beyond that, we're going to have examples on how I've used ChatGPT, going beyond ChatGPT. We're going to talk about specifically Grammarly, Canva, and Perplexity. And then we're also going to talk about how AI has helped, how to use it in workflows, why I use it in workflows, things to kind of remember. And then we're going to do a kind of recap. I'm going to give you my contact info just in case you want to reach out and hang out with me a couple times. And then I'll answer some questions. So that kind of is the overall session overview for today. And so we're just going to jump right in. So just to make sure we're all on the same page, artificial intelligence, as defined as AI, is a field within computer science. It is dedicated to developing systems that can execute tasks usually carried out by human intelligence. And so AI really just strives to imitate human cognitive abilities and are swiftly kind of revolutionizing multiple sectors, including libraries. Most of our conversation today, though, is going to revolve around generative AI, and generative AI is a subset of AI, and it's distinguished by its capabilities to generate content and concepts across various mediums, including text, images, videos, and other data. It's often in response to prompts. And so AI generative models really just learn patterns and structures of their input training data and then generate new data that has similar characteristics. So we're going to talk about a little bit overall as an organization, what can AI do in libraries? And it can do a lot of different things. One of the things is enhancing search and discovery. So you can have AI algorithms significantly improve search and discovery process within your libraries, particularly maybe on your homepage. I know many of us have Netflix. And so it's like having curated Netflix or curated books for your customers if they sign in, and they can have those personalized recommendations, making it easier for patrons to find relevant books, articles, and resources. Another aspect is when using AI, you can use it in collection management. I know Collection HQ, that's a subset of Baker and Taylor, has an AI model that they use. We used it on the Eastern Shore in Maryland when I was there to do DEI initiatives and making sure that we had diversity, equity, and inclusion books within our collection. And so you can use it for that as well. Chatbots, virtual assistants, AI chatbots and virtual assistants can handle routine inquiries and renewals, basic reference questions. So really, it really helps the library be open 24/7 and answer those questions as needed. Organizational benefits of AI in libraries, data analytics and reporting. AI tools can analyze vast amount of data and generate insights to library usage, helping directors make informed decisions about budget allocations, resource acquisition, and service improvements. Also, it can do accessibility services. So if you have a community that has community languages, people speak different languages, you can use AI to really bridge that gap, so to speak. Also, different formats for audio, braille, making library resources more accessible to individuals with disabilities. And so just making sure that when, if you have AI or decide to use AI, you can think of it how it can bridge that gap to make sure everyone in your community has access to resources that they need in order to change their lives. Security and fraud prevention. AI can enhance security by monitoring unusual activities, protecting library digital assets, and preventing unauthorized access. Also, last but not least, it can also do predictive maintenance. So for the physical library facilities, it can predict, maintenance needs, and that can also help you when you're going up for a budget. And so what things that you need to buy that year in order to increase your budget. So that is another way that overall that AI can be a benefit to the entire organization as a movement. Next, we're going to talk about examples of AI integration for library workers. And so this is really how I got started with AI. This is kind of like the basic stuff that I started with. And it's really just, you can do program titles, descriptions, program ideas, procedure evaluations. You can write emails. I really started with writing emails because I was a dance major. I was not an English major. Summarize content, proofing existing documents, reference questions, maybe not ones, but definitely the basic reference questions, and catalog. So if you have, and this is something that I really kind of thought, and it's really that you can have local author that may not have a great MARC record, and then you can maybe upload or retype their little synopsis of their book and then create 650 tags or MARC record tags in order to make sure that they can find the book. And then also, last but not least, is update templates. Ways to use AI as library leaders. Write letters of recommendation and letters of reprimand. So this is like another level of AI as far as like writing or using generative AI. Aid and staff evaluation writing, especially if you have a lot of people. At one point, I had 16 people underneath me. I was so glad. I wish I had AI when I had 16 people. Now I only have like 4, so I'm excited about that. But still, when you have a lot of people writing evaluations, AI can be such a godsend. And just remember that you know who you're talking about, so you don't have to put all their information in there. You don't have to put their name or any of that stuff. You know who you're talking about when you're writing these evaluations, so you can redact as much as you need to in order to get the output that you need. You can write grant proposals. And it's aided me in that. Aid in legislation support letters. I know in Maryland, when I was there, we were always writing legislators for something, whether it's increasing our shares, as far as like, budget and things of that nature. So just kind of keeping that in mind, assist with policy writing, human resource documents, whether it be a staff handbook or things of that nature. Obviously, you still want to take it through an HR professional or even a lawyer for some of these things, but think about how much time you save or money you save by not for them having to start from scratch. Creating interview and question rubric, formulate work schedules, and just justification of positions and budget. Okay. Principles for AI policy writing. And really, I should say more like guiding principles or guiding, and this is from the Association of Research Libraries. And so this is what they've said. One thing is democratizing access. So libraries democratize access to AI tools and technology to foster literacy for all. This is really what we do, making sure people have access to the information they need in order to change their lives. Educate users and professionals and equip them with skills needed to thrive in an AI-driven society, and then commit to inclusivity, knowledge, and empowerment of individuals. Understanding and mitigating bias. Libraries recognize AI's susceptibility to bias and distortions. And so leveraging expertise to raise awareness of bias in AI systems and outputs. So really understanding that there is bias, we all have biases, and AI is susceptible to that. But when you start looking at creating outputs and you create these policies, you can tell like, oh, that doesn't sound right. That sounds a little biased there. We should probably change the language to make it more inclusive, more equitable. So think about that. So you don't have to take the output that AI gives you. You can actually change it to what you know to be correct, or even have someone else, like I said, someone legal or someone in HR to do that for you as well. Championing transparency, advocate for openness and transparent in AI algorithm, training data and methodologies, ensuring transparency in licensed AI technology. So just making sure that, these AIs that we're using are transparent, and that, that people can see where they get their data from. How does this affect us? Maintaining human oversight. And I feel like cannot be stressed enough. No human, no AI. And emphasize the importance of human oversight and critical decision making. So again, it goes back to, even if you put in a prompt, you get the output, and you don't have to go with every single thing that output, that you get from that output, and get more and make better for you and for the people that you serve. Promote accountability, ethics, reliability in AI-driven processes. Prioritizing user privacy, commit to security and privacy of users and AI tools and technology, and really just making sure, like, a lot of libraries, we use public computers, and so making sure that you tell them, like, hey, that, we're gonna wipe it clean after you end your session. It does a deep freeze, all the things, and so everything gets cleared out. There's no cache or anything like that. So just try to make sure that they know that's what's happening. And just also, if you're using AI, again, if you don't have to make an account, then don't make an account. You know what I mean? Less information you give, the better, and more privacy can be protected. I'm sorry. Getting out of place. Okay. Copyright and AI. Copyright is robust and flexible enough to address issues at the intersection of AI and technology, preserve library rights for nonprofit research and education through advocacy and resources. So again, just making sure that there is copyright, you know what I mean, and AI, and there is an intersection in them. And just keeping that in mind as you write policies. Tips for effective prompts. So what we kind of went through is really how to use AI, how to use AI. I give you ideas on how to use it in your daily workflows. But now we're going to kind of pivot. Where are we at? How are people feeling? I saw I was talking too fast. I will try to slow it down. I just have so much information to give, and I don't want to run out of time. So I will slow it down a little bit. So thank you for that. So this next section is really tips for effective prompts. And so that way I can really show you what it really looks like. So tip number 1 is be specific. Provide lots of detail in your prompts. You have space for around 3,000 words, so you can give AI lots of information to work with. Give it a word count. Whenever you want a specific output, also be mindful, again, of your personal data as you do that. Tip number 2, be conversational. Use natural language. It remembers your previous entries within the session, so you can build on that of what you've already said. So it really, in my mind, I think about it as you're talking to a person and that person is actually listening to you. So that's what that conversation looks like. It does remember what you said in that session. And so again, you can always go back to it and change it or make some changes and speak to it in a way that you would normally speak. So there is that too. You don't have to be super formal. You can say, this is what I want. And so, and just tell again with natural language. Feel free to correct it. And we talked about this a little bit. You can say, that's not what I meant, or you can ask it to clarify information for you, and it will correct itself. If you ask for a long format answer, like a proposal write-up, you can ask it to summarize the text, and then you can correct the summary, and then ask it to flesh out with the corrected points into long format again. So you can continuously keep tweaking your original prompt in order to make it better and to get the output that you desire. Tip number 4, ask for a format. You can create a table, you can ask for a letter, you can create a rubric, you can create a template. So just think about all those things. You can you can ask it to even make a poem for you if you want to, if you need one. So just think about what kind of format you would like for it to be in as well. Tip number 5, give it a direction and set the tone. So you can tell it to make it funny, you can tell it to make it short, you can tell it to make it formal, you can tell it to make a rhyme. Ask and it will provide. Tip number 6, ask it to proof it for you. So you can ask it to correct the grammar, you can ask it to fix punctuation, you can evaluate the flow, you can find potential errors in the process as well. So again, if you're making a policy or if you're making a procedure, you can ask for errors and you can ask for like, what are the gaps in this policy? What are the gaps in this procedure? What am I missing? And you can decide if it was really a gap, or is it something that you guys like, nah, this is not something that that's going to benefit us in the long run. Tip number 7, ask it to act. So give it a persona. Tell ChatGPT or whatever AI that you're using, say, act as this. So it already puts it in the mindset of that. So whether you're saying act as a grant writer, you're not just saying, if you say write me a proposal, you can say that, but you'll probably get a better answer if you say act as a grant writer and write me a proposal. versus you just saying write a proposal. Because at this point, it's just saying, oh, okay, I'll just write a proposal. I can just be anybody writing a proposal. But you can say, act as the best grant writer in the world that gets $1.2 million in grants, and you can give it a whole persona, and it will give you a better answer. The more specific you give it, the more parameters you give, the better off your output is going to be. So you can say, act as an executive director, act as a copywriter, act as a librarian, act as an HR professional. So these are some of the things that I know I've asked it to act as. Tip number 8, give an example. So you can upload an example into ChatGPT of what you're looking for. Obviously, you need to redact things if it's personal information, but if it's not, like a desk schedule and you take out the names, or a work schedule, position guide, job description, even an outdated policy if you're trying to rewrite something, or if you have a certain language or a certain tone that you like your policies to be in, then you can upload that and say, hey, I still want you to keep the same tone, but I want you to rewrite this, using the following language. So you can do that as well. Frameworks for effective prompts. So this, I follow Chat GPT Tricks on Instagram, and these are the 4 frameworks that I've used. One is the CARE framework. It is act as, and so there you put content, create, which is action, show as a result, and give and is an example. There's the tag framework where you describe, and then you ask for, and then you state. So it's a task, action, and a goal. Another one is the RTF framework, where you act as, so it's a role, create, a task, and show. And the last one is rise. You act as, so the role, you describe, it was input, you ask for, or output, and the steps that you want to take, and then describe, which is the expectations that you have from your input. So here are some prompt templates for library leaders. Strategic decision-making prompt template, help library workers make informed strategic decisions. As a library leader, so this is the prompt structure. So as a library leader, again, it gives a persona you're tasked with, and then you describe a decision or a challenge. So give an example of evaluating digital resources for acquisition, provide analysis of, and then you can say cost benefit or user demand or technological compatibility. And then you offer a recommendation based on the budget or future trends or community needs. Next is policy creation prompt template. So assist leaders in drafting and updating library policies. So as the head of the library, draft a policy regarding a specific issue, whatever the issue is. One of the ones they is remote work or collection development. I know it's come up recently. Ensure it addresses these key considerations: staff roles, compliance with regulations, scalability, can everyone remote work, and then aligns with existing frameworks. So whether it's the current library goals, whether it's the legal guidelines, and things of that nature. Operational efficiency prompt. So the purpose is to improve or streamline library operations. Again, as a library leader, identify ways to improve specific operation, cataloging flow, user services, provide a list of efficiency strategies, so automating tasks, staff training, and then explain how each will improve workflow or reduce costs or increase user satisfaction. Stakeholder engagement prompt template. Guide leaders in engaging effectively with stakeholders. So as a head librarian, you need to engage with stakeholders, local government, donors, board members, about a topic, whether it be funding a new library building or new program. Draft a communication plan, a presentation or report that outlines key points, benefits of the program, financial projections and purpose. So the action steps, like what actions we would like to take. Crisis management prompt, guide leaders in managing unexpected challenges and crisis. As a library leader, you are facing a specific crisis, whether it be budget cuts, staff shortages, data breach. Develop a response plan that addresses critical actions, such as communication with staff, resource allocation, or even communication with the media, and include short-term, long-term solutions, temporary hires, alternative funding options. So that's another prompt. Team development and training prompt, guide library leaders in developing and training their teams. As a library leader, you're responsible for enhancing the skills of your staff. Develop a training plan, professional development program based on specific digital literacy, customer service. You said you can even do even one maybe on front desk procedures or whatever you decide to do. Include key learning objectives, methods of delivery timelines, and then explain how the training will improve staff performance or meet user needs, or even be in alignment with your strategic plan. Innovation and technology integration prompt template. Purpose: encourage leaders to explore innovative solutions and integrate new technologies. Again, as a library leader, you're tasked with exploring innovative technologies to improve a specific area, whether it be user engagement, collection management, facilities. Research and recommend technology tools, platforms, detailing how they can be integrated and what impact they will have on your staff, users, library operations. Budget management prompt, assist leaders in effective financial planning and resource allocation. As the head of the library, you need to manage an annual budget for a specific area, collection development, staff salaries. Create a budget plan that allocates resources to specific priorities. So again, this is something you can also, I feel like one of those things that if you have a strategic plan in place, this is something you can actually upload and then give it this prompt and say, hey, based on this strategic plan, this is what I would like this is where our budget allocation needs to go this year. Create a budget plan, and so while staying within the constraints and the budget limitations or funding sources, justify your allocation decisions based on user demand and strategic goals. So again, using that when it comes time to do your analysis for your budget, decision analysis synopsis that you have to do for your budget. So I know this has been helpful for me. Project planning and execution prompt template, guide library leaders through the planning and execution of library projects. So this prompt structure, again, as a library leader, you are tasked with planning, executing specific project, renovation, children's area, launching a new digital service. You can even put, like, if you're a facility manager, you can say the same thing. Like, as a facility manager, you're tasked with planning, executing a renovation. Develop a project plan that includes milestones, timelines, resources needed, and identify potential risk and success metrics. Community outreach and partnership prompt template, help leaders develop strategies to engage with community and form partnerships. Again, as head library, you want to increase community engagement and partnerships with local organizations. Create an outreach strategy that includes target groups, engagement methods, and partnership opportunities, and explain how this strategy will increase foot traffic, enhance program participation, or strengthen community ties. So now that we've kind of seen all the prompts and all the ways you can write a prompt and the tips for prompts, now we're going to move into the examples on how we have used ChatGPT specifically. So OpenAI.com currently use the free, I still use the free version. I still haven't paid to use the things that I've done on ChatGPT. It can be unavailable during high volume use. So just kind of be mindful of that. This is what I was talking about, how you can upload or attach something up into ChatGPT. It says upload from computer, connect to Microsoft OneDrive, or connect from Google Drive. Next, this was my first, this was my first one. The first one I did. I've tweaked it since then. It's an act manager, create a desk schedule in a table format for the library staff of four, with two working 30 hours a week, the other working 2 hours. I'm sorry, the other two working 40 hours a week. I gave our days of operation. I gave our hours of operation. I gave their lunch breaks and their 10-minute and their 10-minute breaks. And so this is what this is the output that it gave me. Next, it says write a justification for on-the-spot cash award. And so this was an award package that I put together for two of my staff members for our summer reading program. And so as you see, I didn't put their names. I just put what was done, and then I would put their names in afterwards. So record-breaking registrations, exceptional reading engagement, significant contribution, so things of that nature. Next is act as a grant writer and write a proposal using natural language to replace library book drops at Chestertown, Rock Hall, and Galena branches. And so I gave it some specifics. I said, have a brief of 150-word description for the overall project, a narrative no longer than 1,800 words, a title, the amount requested, and answer the following questions. And so this was something that our foundation wanted to have. So I was like, okay, these are the questions that they were asking. These are the answers I have. And then it gave me an output. We ended up getting the $21,000, by the way, just FYI. So this is what it gave me. It gave me more than this. Obviously, it gave me the 1,800 words, but this was the description it gave me. The modernization of library book drop project aims to revitalize and enhance the book drop systems in Chestertown, Rock Hall, and Galena branches of our community library. And it's like, it gives an overview. And then I had it kind of summarized. So this was all the things that it had in it, where it had the project summary, why the project was needed, and the benefits to library users. This one was write a quick paragraph. The library looks to adjust their budget request by $2,000. So this was a budget, our camera systems to be in line with the county police department. Like these other agencies, we're trying to ensure that we have ample coverage and protection, not only for these taxpayer resources, but to ensure the safety of all our community members. Additionally, the cameras will cost about $7,000, but the Friends of the Library provided us with an additional $5,000 donation that will enable us to offset the cost in other areas of our budget. Thanks for the consideration. So I didn't exactly like what I had to say, so I asked ChatGPT to write it better for me. And so this is what it came up with. The library is proposing a slight adjustment to their budget request, aiming to increase by $2,000. The adjustment is critical or crucial, as it has been noted that our camera systems require upgrading and replacement to align with the standards set by the county and police department. Just like these essential agencies, we are committed to ensuring adequate coverage and protection, not only for our tax-funded resources, but also for the safety of all members of our community. The anticipated cost of the cameras is approximately $7,000. However, we are fortunate to have received a generous donation of $5,000 from the Friends of the Library, allowing us to offset some of these expenses within our budget. Thank you for your thoughtful consideration, and it's appreciated. So I just feel like, that was what I feel like it was better. It just said it better, but it was my thoughts. Another one is making email nicer. So this was an employee. We wrote, it appears that the Milo tote did not get processed on Thursday. That is your assigned day for it. Please be sure to set a reminder for yourself to take care of it if you haven't already. I know we have a few different projects going on that might cause confusion about what you should prioritize. You have specific assigned tasks each week for ILL. Make sure that it's taken care of first. If you find your time is too tight to get to it on any given Thursday, just let us know and we can figure out a plan. So the next one, this is what ChatGPT, that was the prompt, and this is what was given. I hope you're doing well. I just want to touch base with you regarding the Milo tote. Unfortunately, it seems that it was not processed on Thursday, which is your assigned day for this task. I kindly ask that you set a reminder to take care of it as soon as possible if you haven't already. I understand we have multiple projects going on simultaneously, and that this can sometimes create confusion about what tasks to prioritize. However, if you have a specific assigned task for ILL this week, please make sure it takes precedence. If you find that your schedule is too tight to complete the task on any given Thursday, please let us know and we can work together to come up with a solution. Thank you for your hard work, dedication. I appreciate your efforts, and I look forward to seeing your continued contribution to our team. That sounds so much better. So, obviously, if we might have sent the first one, it might not have been taken well, but this one was taken very well. The person received it and understood that, yes, they made a mistake, but that we're just trying to help and make sure that they're successful in this career field. So again, we did do a DEI policy using ChatGPT. It says, can you write a library policy for DEI? And then can you summarize the policy in bullet points? So it wrote a policy, then we decided to do bullet points. One of the things, so this is what it did. It summarized the version of our diversity, equity, inclusion, library policy, and bullet points. And one of the things, we liked almost everything it had to say, except for under staff, it says provide cultural training. Well, we really don't provide cultural training. That's not something that we do. And so that's something that we took out in this iteration. We took it out of here and then we rewrote it in long form again, and then created a policy from there. So again, we talk about there is no human, no AI. It's that kind of thinking where it's like, oh, this is not something that we want to say. This is not something that is going to benefit us or seems to be equitable or seems that something that we can do. So we're going to take that out and make it so it makes sense for our organization. Here is a letter for legislation that ChatGPT helped me write. So I act as a legislator. So that way it puts it in the mindset. This is, of lobbying and giving a compelling argument for support. So here is and you see, I gave it a lot of detail. I gave it percentages. I gave it number of registered library users we have throughout the system. And so then it was able to put that information in here. I gave it numbers, millions, $3 million, 12% of our poverty numbers at the time. And so you can see that this is what it came up with from that thought. Here, I acted to ask as a library HR professional, make a rubric for the following areas: professional dress, 15-minute story time presentation, 10-minute shelving test, and ideas for team programming. In this rubric, I forgot to do the interview. I forgot to also say interview, because the person also had to actually do an interview, but I did it in the next iteration of this. But I asked it to give me a rubric, which it did. And then I asked it to create a table for the graded elements, and then it gave me a table from there. And then I asked it to give me a table that I can copy and paste into Microsoft Word. So then it gives me this code, and then it gives me how to do it. It says to insert into Microsoft Word, copy the text above, paste it into your Word document, select the text, go to insert. It tells me exactly step by step on how to get this looking like this in Word. Next, we did a grant. This was just a one-pager, and we ended up getting $5,000, actually it was $6,000 with this grant. It says, write a grant fund request to address health disparities in our county through the public library. We will focus giveaways through our community giveaway program, KCPL Cares, for grocery store cards, for food insecurity, home health hardware, and tech such as blood pressure machines. These giveaways happen quarterly at each library, and we can reserve materials for outreach to different health fairs. We will also spend some funds on collection development of mental health books and kits for libraries. Can you write a one-page description of all that? And so it literally was one page, and from that one page, we were able to get $6,000. So there's that. Again, creating a table right here, we just give it the information and it says here, can you put the following into a table? Again, some of them, I wanted to give you guys like a range of different things, some short, some small, but just to give you an idea that it doesn't have to be long if you don't want it to be long. If you want it to be more detailed, then you can make it more detailed. This next one here is act as a marketing executive and write the title by replacing a title, and give it to me in 10 different ways. And so this was actually for a presentation that me and one of my former coworkers did for the Association for Rural and Small Libraries, ARSL, and we ended up taking the beginning of number 4, AI-assisted librarians, and placing it with synergistic solutions for a digital era in number 1. So I always like, if we're doing program ideas, if you're doing any kind of descriptions for programs, ask it to give it to you multiple different ways. So that way you can decide what's the best one, what sounds the best for you in regards to that. Next, we're going to go to beyond ChatGPT, Grammarly, Canva, and Perplexity. So Grammarly has a couple different things that I like to just highlight. Obviously it has grammar in the name and spelling correction. It has styling and clarity enhancement. And Grammarly was one of the first, I feel like, kind of one of the first people in this field, outside of obviously Microsoft Word, that really just focused on style and clarity and tone and politeness detection. And then also talks about here about plagiarism and AI detection. It actually upgraded. At one point, it was just plagiarism. Now it also has AI detection, but that is only in the Pro model. So there is that. Also has vocabulary enhancement and grammar and spelling correction, which I said twice. Sorry about that. All right. So again, here you have setting the goals in Grammarly. You have knowledgeable, expert, general, formality. So you have informal, neutral, formal. You have domain, academic, business, general, email, casual, creative. Again, in the same sense, it's giving you, just like with ChatGPT, it's, you have an audience you're trying to talk to. You want to make it neutral. You maybe don't want to make it formal. Maybe you want to make it informal. You give it a direction. I want it for academic. I want it for a business. I want it for email. I want it just to be creative. And the intent, are you informing? Are you describing? Are you trying to convince somebody? Are you trying to tell a story? So in that sense, excuse me, it gives you, it tailors that for you. And so AI was working in that. And then it also has generative AI. If you haven't looked at Grammarly in a while, it has generative AI. And then it has all these things. So if you have something written and then you say, I want to improve it. So you just click on that and it improves it. Find claims I should cite, suggest counter arguments, suggest cuts, brainstorm topics for my assignment, draft an outline. Give me research, a research plan, identify any gaps. Again, we talked about that. So maybe you can put a policy in here and identify gaps. Give me ideas for improvement. Pick out my main point. So, and that can be really helpful, especially when you're looking to either create a policy or you're trying to do something new. Like, what is my main point? Why am I doing this? Or how can I explain this better? Next is write project progress report, ask for a favor, write an engagement introductory email, write a thank you note, tell a story, and politely ask for an update. I know as supervisors, a lot of times we gotta ask politely, will you have that for me today? When can I get that from you? Especially whether it be an email or just talking to someone. I know I've had to ask that a couple of times for sure. Next, again, I told you this is in the pro section, but here it says plagiarism text check. So here it has tells you where you can find the detected reference. So that was one thing about the plagiarism. It does tell you where they think you might have plagiarized from. It also says here this text appears to be AI generated. So it tells you that as well. And then this particular document was 6% your document matches external sources, 55% your document appears to be AI generated. Next, we're going to talk about Canva. Canva, I like Canva. I put it out here because a lot of times as leaders, we have to do presentations. And so I've used Canva to do presentations or to present an idea at a board meeting or even at a conference. So obviously as design templates, it suggests design templates based on the type of project you're working on. It has image recognition. It recognizes content within images. It has background removal. So Canva's AI-powered background remover tool can automatically detect and remove backgrounds from images, saving users valuable time and effort. So if someone photobombs you, you can now erase them. Color palette generator. So that's how I made this. I asked Miss Angela for y'all logo and it helped me get the right colors. So that's how I got the colors for this presentation, is from using your logo for this, for the colors. Text and font recommendations, which also would be really nice, especially if you're trying to make it more accessible and create a cohesive and pleasing visuals. And then last but not least is Magic Write and Magic Media. So it's an AI-powered tool that helps you quickly generate polished text for any design project, but also helps you create images as well. So here is Magic Write. It says use 5 or more words to describe what you want to write. So you have here, and then you can also create some type, you can create, this is like their version of Act As. You can create a voice and describe your voice. So you can, so again, if you have some kind of policy, if you have some kind of, I know you have policies, but any policy or procedure or template or something like that, and you want to keep that same tone, that same voice, that same brand, you know what I mean? Then you would put that in here, and then you give you a description of the voice is this, and then it'll analyze the voice, and then it writes the stuff for you in your voice or in your brand language. Next, this is the image generator. Generate your own, and then more words to describe, and then you can say inspire me. And so, and then get images, videos, and things of that nature. So that was Canva. Next is Perplexity AI. And Perplexity AI gives instant summaries. It can generate concise summaries for long articles and multiple sources. It helps users get to the core of information quickly. So I like Perplexity if you're doing any kind of like quick research. It will tell you, it will give you, I like it because it gives you sources. It says exactly where it got it from, so you're not guessing. Whereas ChatGPT, you might be guessing where they got it from, but Perplexity, it actually tells you where it gets it from. So source citations and links, and it gives you the links to the original sources of information. So you can actually click on in the description or in the output, it'll give you 1, 2, 3, and you click on those numbers, and it'll give you the articles that it got it from, or the sources it got it from. Real-time information retrieval, it pulls data from the web and other sources in real time, ensuring that users get the most current relevant information available. And so again, the only time you get real-time information retrieval in ChatGPT, I feel like, is if you pay for it, but in Perplexity, you get real-time information. Multilingual support, AI, it can understand and respond to queries in multiple different languages. So again, it's very helpful if you have people with, in your community that speak different languages in order to help them get that information that they need. And then also you have a wide range of knowledge and can handle a broad spectrum of topics, from simple factual inquiries to more complex research-driven inquiries. So there is that. So here are some screenshots. I asked it how is Perplexity different from ChatGPT, because I just wanted to know. And so here you see it has the sources right here. This was the this was kind of like the article, like saying like this was the different, and then you see the numbers here, 1, 2, 3, 1, and 4. So it tells you exactly where it came from. You can click on it, and then it comes up. And then it can come up also on another screen if you like it too. So you click on here, it's like 5 reasons why I prefer Perplexity over any other AI chatbot. And the other one, guess what? Association for Research Library releases guiding principle for artificial intelligence. There you go. And then it gives this key principles for the policy. And then it gives a summary. So this was I think about 3 pages or so. And so it summarized it for you. So that was exactly where I got it from, using Perplexity AI. So how has AI helped? It has improved decision-making. Having AI generate reports and analytics can provide deeper understanding for patron behavior and preferences, and aid in strategic planning and policy development. Also, its efficiency of work and automating routine tasks through AI frees up your time, allowing you to focus on more meaningful, high-impact work like networking, outreach, and things of that nature, and just being able to be present. And then also, last but not least, future-proofing the library. Embracing AI technology positions the library at the forefront of innovation and ensuring its relevance and competitiveness in a digital age. Why use AI in workflows? First of all, it saves time. Time is money. And one thing you can't get back. So I like to save time. So it has truly saved a lot of time. Things that might take, hours can take minutes, and things that take days can take hours. Just getting that time back. Also, it helps enhance creativity and innovation as you have more time to think things through. Because now you're not rushing at the very end, getting it all together, because you're like, oh, I can think about this, I have time, I can think of different ways to do it. And then hello, I'm back. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm logging, I'm going back. I'm sharing. Here we go. All right. We're here. Okay. So why use AI in workflows? It saves time. Time is money, and I like to save my time. And things that take days can take hours. Things that take hours can take minutes. And so, as a library leader, I feel like it's important to save your time so that way you can be there and be more present. Also, it helps enhance creativity and innovation because now you have more time to think because you freed up that time. Um, Also, it can save money. Whether it's hiring a professional where you can say, hey, we have this draft of this staff handbook. Can you review it for us? And make sure that it's in compliance. Or you can gain money where you're writing grants and you're getting $200,000. I wrote a grant. AI helped me write a grant, and I was able to get $200,000 to build a building. So, or renovate a building. I'm sorry. So there's that. The ability to streamline workflow operations. So just having that ability to streamline this workflow and making sure that it works like it's supposed to. Also enables you to make more data-based decisions. So these are all the reasons why why to use AI in your workflows. Things to remember. Generative AI depends on you. It is based off of what you would like to have happen. Without a prompt, it can't do anything. So you have to tell it. So it depends on you in order to create. If you don't like it, change it. You is not set in stone. You do not have to buy in. You don't have to do none of that. You can change whatever you like to change. Sometimes the output is just the starter. So again, it's one of those things where the output that you get can just help you start the project. It doesn't necessarily end up being the end all be all, but it can help you get started. And sometimes getting started is the hardest part. AI is changing quickly, but does that mean you have to? So you don't have to change quickly. You can take your time. I would say just start. Also, start small and build. Like I said, I first started using AI because I wasn't the best writer. So because I wasn't the best writer, I was always asking my staff or someone with, that took, had an English degree. I'm like, hey, can you read over this for me? Hey, what do you think of this? And so it helped me, move on from that. But also that's how I started. I started out small and was like realizing like, okay, Arnessa, if you use AI, then you don't have to ask other people on how this sounds or if this is grammatically correct. So there is that. AI can also help you, but it cannot be you. So just keep that you are uniquely and wonderfully made, and it can help you, but it definitely cannot be you. So just to recap, I say use it or lose it. But it's time to take the first step. And I want you guys to keep some of these things in mind. Research shows that by deciding when to execute a goal, a person becomes 40% more likely to accomplish it. So today, I would like for you to set a goal that you are going to use AI in some capacity in your workflows. And according to studies conducted by Gail Matthews at the Dominican Republic University of California, you are 42% more likely to achieve your goals just by writing them down. So in the chat, write it down. Write down what your goal is. And publicly outlining your goals gives you 65% chance of completing them. So again, in the chat, decide what you would like to execute and when you would like to execute. And last but not least, an article entitled The Power of Accountability says having an accountability partner increases your chances of success by 95%. So today, there's 118 of you. That's an even number. So find an accountability partner. You're all in the same state. So 95%. So that way you guys can all be using AI and take the next step. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Leanne. I see you guys. I see y'all in the chat. Yay, I like it. I like it. I like it. Thank you. Thank you. Update my resume. Okay, I love that. Okay. All right, Miss Tanya. I like it. Try Perplexity this week. Okay. All right then. I love it. I love it. I love it. Help with scheduling. Let's go. Scheduling always takes up so much of my time. I can't, when I tell you, it is a game changer. Okay. All right. So this is my contact information. Find me on LinkedIn as Arnessa Dowell. Find me on IG as Arnessa, the Library Guru. Email me at askaprofessornessa.com. And thank you guys so much for your time tonight. I am so sorry for technical difficulties. Like I said, I'm in Guam. We had a monsoon and I am trying to hang tough with y'all tonight. It is almost 2 o'clock in the morning, but I am here, ready to answer some questions. Hello. I can't hear you, Miss Angela.
Angela, you're muted.
There you go. I was about to say, I hear you now.
How about now?
Yes, ma'am. I hear you.
Okay, great. I love that you were asking how people are going to use AI. I'm feeling very inspired reading everything, especially the marketing prompts, summer reading program, thank you cards. I love to write a thank you card, but I dread having to think of what I'm going to write. So I loved seeing that one. We did have a couple of questions come through, and I encourage everyone else that's all active in the chat still, if you have other questions, type them all in. Mark had asked if there are any specific tips that you have for AI information literacy that we can share with our patrons that have questions about using AI safely or efficiently.
My biggest thing with them, I would always tell them, for me, and this is, if you don't have to make an account, don't. Just write your little question in, try to redact as much information as possible. Again, it's you know what you're trying to say. So those are my main tips. Like, you know what I mean? If you don't need to make an account, if you don't need to give me your email and none of that other stuff, then don't do that. If you can just use it, because Perplexity, you don't have to do none of that. You can just use it. I haven't made an account yet. You know what I mean? So, so then that way it kind of keeps you, like I say, keeps you like that anonymity, and you're like, okay, no one can see me kind of situation, and protects your privacy a little bit better. And then again, just redacting and making sure that they know that open sources are open sources. So make sure that they know they're not putting their, any kind of tips for privacy, like no addresses, no full names, no social security, like none of that stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Anything that can, no PII, no personal identifiable information. So I think those would be the main ways to keep, your stuff private.
There was a question earlier as well. Someone just wanted to clarify the free AI tool that you're using. Is ChatGPT exclusively, or are there other free tools that you're using, for those more extensive prompts? And then kind of in line with that, Allie asked, would Perplexity AI be a good place to start if they're exploring AI, or would you recommend ChatGPT as a starting point?
Um, I find Perplexity less about, more factual. So if you're trying to be creative, I would say no. You know what I mean? If you're trying to um research, if you're trying to do some research, I would use Perplexity AI. If you're trying to be creative, and like I said, you're thinking of what you want to do, and then you're having someone kind of rewrite it for you, I would use Chat GPT. So it just really depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to do research, I would say use Perplexity AI. If you're trying to be creative, I would say use Chat GPT. What was the first part of the question?
If ChatGPT was the free
Yes.
software
So
program that you're
I still
using.
use the free version of ChatGPT. I'll be honest. I haven't paid yet. It's like, I do have an account though, but I don't pay, I do the free account. And just the other day, it told me that it upgraded me to like Chat GPT 4, and then I used all my Chat GPT 4 stuff. So I guess they're kind of testing out a higher model, because usually it's Chat GPT 3.5 for free, and then the 4, and then maybe they add 4.5 now or something. So that's why. So just thinking about that too. But no, I definitely use the Chat 3.5 for free. And that's how I got my $200,000 for the building. That's how I got the additional. I think I've gotten almost $400,000 roughly, between grants and budget allocations and staff salary improvements and all the other stuff. Literally just Chat GPT, the free version. So yeah. If I can do it for free, I'm gonna do it for free. If I have to pay, I'll pay, obviously. Like Grammarly, I'll pay for. My husband's in school, so we pay for that. But
Mhm.
but if it's something like that, then
It's
yeah.
great to hear how much you've been able to do with the free
Oh yeah.
version.
I've been able
Yeah.
to do a lot with Chat GPT, like I said, the free version. So and like me and Angela were talking about one day, I was one of the early adopters. So I was early, like in November. So when it came out in January and it kind of blew up, I was already on it. So I was definitely like, oh, I love this. So I was using it like months before, you know what I mean? It hit like the mainstream, so to speak. So yeah, I'm a fan. So there's that. And
I'm
I
a late
say,
adopter and I am a fan too now.
and I just tell everybody to pick one, like pick what works best for you, and just become really proficient at it. That's all I did. You know what I mean? I'm just proficient at using Chat GPT, and that just makes it more, you know what I'm saying? For me, that makes it way better. Um, so yeah. So, and then I don't have to like figure it out. I'm like, I know if I put this type of prompt, this is what I'll get the output on and stuff like that. So yeah. So today I got to play with Nipper GPT. So the Air Force has its own GPT, and that was fun.
Mm,
So yeah, I know.
cool.
I was like, oh, this is so cool. So yeah. So I used that today for the first time. So not the same, but there you go.
Lauren asked a question. She said, "Are you sometimes using your results exactly as AI writes them, or do you typically spend a lot of time editing it to make it your own or make it sound like it's in your own voice?"
It honestly depends. It depends on what it is. If it's like a definition, I'm not gonna rewrite that. It's a definition. Like, you know what I mean? Like if it's you know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at. Like if it's a definition, I'm not rewriting it. If I need to tweak it, I tweak it as necessary. It literally just depends on, and also depends on my audience. And you know what I mean? What am I trying to convey? If I need it to be more of an original work, then, I'll edit it more. If I needed to just, to state something, then I'm just going to state it because it can be stated, it's no different than going to Webster at this point. Like, you know what I mean? So there's that too.
Great, thank you. And
You're
then
welcome.
Mark had asked if you could specify the input a generative AI can use. He says, so are they not using the whole internet or just specific sources, vetted places? How do we know, or can we know what information they're using to generate what their output is?
Usually I think on a lot of their main websites that say like kind of where they're getting their information from, just depending on what it is. Most of them say that they're getting it from the entire web, like the internet, the World Wide Web, so to speak. And again, it goes back to, you know what I mean? You know what you're going to talk about. I never go into Chat GPT and be like, you know what I mean, just out of the blue. I have something in my mind of what I want it to look like. And so if it doesn't look like or sound like what I want it to look like, then I don't use it. So I think it just comes to that human, there has to be a human involved in AI. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Was cheat
Um,
sheet prompt. Let me look at
yeah,
this.
so Melissa shared in the chat a Reddit thread or feed of cheat sheet prompts. Do you recommend that as a starting point?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I also liked, I said the Instagram, I'm an Instagram person still. I know it's probably not popular, but I used the Chat GPT tricks, and that was, you know what I mean? That's exactly where I got those frameworks from. Um, and so yeah. So I would say anything that's made, if you find it, and if it's helpful, at the end of the day, like, yeah, you can use it and see if it's helpful. If it gives the output that you want, then it's great. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Is it going to give you the output that you're looking for, and the information that you need in order to change not only your life, but the life of the people that, that have been entrusted to you. So, whether it be the community or whether it be your employees. So yeah, I say go for it, Miss Melissa.
What's one project that you haven't used AI to tackle, but you're still working through how you're going to prompt it? Are there any projects coming
Mm.
up that you are preparing to use AI for?
Man, I think the biggest one, I have not ran into nothing just yet. I just did the rubric interview thing. That I literally just did like maybe 2 weeks ago. And so that was like, I was like, oh, let me figure this out. And I was like, oh, I did it. I was so excited about myself. And it was on the first try. That was the other thing that got me. I was like, I think also because I use it so much and it just like, Arnessa, I know what you want in your life. You know what I mean? But anyway, but the next thing is the idea I've been playing around with is cataloging. I start off as even though I started off as a page, my first like library technician job was a cataloger. And I was intrigued because I was doing another webinar and someone asked me about that. And I was like, oh, you could do that. So now I need to test it. I feel like you can do it. I'm 90% confident that you can do it, but I'm like, I want to test it for myself. And so I feel like she's testing it and she said it was fine, but I still need to test it for me. So that's probably something I just want to just see and see what the output is. So yeah.
And then Allie had asked as well, have you experienced any pushback on your use of AI? And do you think there will come a time when grant proposals, other professional papers will be run through an AI detection program like academic papers are?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think grants will though. Like, why would they? Like in my mind, like you know what I mean? Like they want the information. I gave the information. I'm gonna do what the grant, because then you have to do an after action report and say that you did the things that they gave you the grant for. It's not like, you know what I mean? You're gonna keep the money and not show no proof. If you didn't build a building, they're gonna know that you know what I'm saying? Like, so in my mind, I think that yes, they might, but I don't see why they would. You know what I mean? When it comes to professional papers, I feel like it's one of those things like, yeah, they're definitely probably gonna do that at some point for sure. Um, but then if the information is, my thing is the information correct? And then can you cite the sources that you got it from? Yes, I can cite the sources I got it from. And then at the end of the day, it starts with your idea and what you want to do.
Mhm.
That's how it starts. And if you never thought about the idea, if it never came to you, then you know what I mean? Then it's not out there, maybe. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it too.
Great. Thank you.
You're
We
welcome.
do have a few minutes left if anyone has any other questions. Oh, perfect. When you use AI, do you cite its use in the finished product?
Yes, I usually say this was done by AI, or I've used AI to create this, to create this presentation. Yes, I do say that. Like at the beginning, you saw, I said, AI wrote this title because it did. Like, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I always give credit. I also be like, you know what I mean? As I said, I used AI obviously to grab the colors from the logo. Like I've used AI. I used AI obviously in this presentation when it came to definitions, when it came to stuff like that, because like it's a definition that it is that's what it is. Like I can say it a different way, but that's that's what you're gonna get at Webster.
Hmm.
So there you go. So yeah. So again, but it's also about the content and how you put it together, and you know what I mean. And do you have personal experience, or can you support what you're saying? You know what I mean? And so there is that too.
Great. Any other questions for Arnessa as we're wrapping up? Still some things coming in about how people are going to use AI going forward. I will say you'll be receiving a survey and a follow-up email from me after this presentation, and I would love it if you think of it in a week from now or 2 weeks from now, reply to that email with how you used AI so that I can share that back with Arnessa as well, and we can
Please.
celebrate that you were able to implement some of the things that you've learned today. But last call, any questions or lingering thoughts? Um, how do you credit AI in a grant? If you're using AI to help you generate a grant proposal, how do you acknowledge that in the grant?
You literally can just say like, you know what I mean, AI assisted, in the writing of this grant. Like it doesn't have to be a long, drawn out thing. You know what I mean? It could literally be AI assisted writing this grant. But also you think about it too, um, if you're using Grammarly, it's the same, you know what I mean? A lot of people use Grammarly for years before, but they've never credited Grammarly for helping them write something. So think about that too as well. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I look at it too. Like no one ever said like Grammarly help me write this thing. You know what I mean? Like they don't typically do that. So
Mhm.
but you can say like if you feel like if you put it through Grammarly and it says it's like written 80%, you know what I mean? By AI, I would suggest you be like, AI did help me, you know what I mean? But it shouldn't be that much when you're writing a grant anyway, because these are also how you defend it, how you um are going to be original thoughts, you know. Um, you're doing a new idea. You're not doing
Mhm.
something that's been done before. So if you think of it like that too, they're really just helping you write it and make it better. So there is that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much again, and
Oh,
thank you
thank
to
you guys.
thank you to everyone that's joined us. As I had said at the beginning, you'll receive a link to the recording and Arnessa's awesome slide deck. They'll
Thank
also
you.
be available on the Tech Days website. Um, and you will receive a brief survey when you exit the webinar today. We appreciate your feedback, all of our library systems as we plan for next year's Tech Days, and we'll also share your feedback with Arnessa as well. We
Thank
do have our next session starting at 1 o'clock. Today is the day of AI, so Delandra Steele will be here talking about sharing and navigating AI through a public librarian lens. So we hope that you'll join us there, and I look forward to seeing how you all start to implement AI in your libraries as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording.